and be given the keys to a Honda Civic, and as you take off, say, I want you to drive it like a Ferrari.
I've been driving in my car, it's not quite a Jaguar. Welcome back to Fog Football. Brendan Rodgers, he wants to drive a Ferrari. All he's got's a Honda Civic, and to be honest, I think Rangers are driving a DeLorean, aren't they, at the minute? I mean, time machine, that's what I want, that's what I need.
We've heard of the army tank with a Ferrari engine, but at this moment in time, this Celtic team seems to be a car with an engine, because they're going nowhere. Apart from reverse, they're reversing behind Hearts, 5 points now behind the league leaders. But Brendan Rodgers made it clear in one of his post-match interviews after the Dundee game that he is not happy, and he kind of insinuated that he does not have the tools at his disposal in order to play and achieve the results that he wants, comparing this Celtic team to basically a Honda Civic, while the board and the fans may be wanting a Ferrari instead. So, yeah, we'll get into the Brendan Rodgers comments here. Very strange, and I've got to disagree with Brendan Rodgers. I mean, he can say that he's driving a Honda Civic. If he's driving a Honda Civic, then what does that make the rest of the teams in the SPFL? Fucking push bikes? Tricycles?
See,
if he is driving a Honda Civic, then Livingston are walking. Because that's the
rolling.
I mean, that's the gulf we've got here in terms of finances and quality of players. But let's listen to what Brendan Rodgers had to say.
As you can imagine, bitterly disappointed with that. We had enough of the ball and enough and arriving into the areas often enough, but we just failed to show that bit of quality that allows you to get the goals that you need, and that's where we've suffered up until now. As I said, we lost a lot of firepower, a lot of goals out in the team, and there's no way you'll go into a race and be given the keys to a Honda Civic, and as you take off, say, I want you to drive it like a Ferrari. It's not going to happen. So until something changes, I have to find the solutions, because, like I said, goals, speed, everything has come out of the team, and we need to find a way to be better. I just said that this is where you really have to be a man. You know, because at Celtic it's great from the outside when you look in and you're winning trophies and playing great football, but you've got to deal with pressure, and also the resultant performance today isn't good enough. You know, it's not acceptable for Celtic. You know, I've come here numbers of times, numbers of years, and that today is not the level. So we have to find it.
Brendan Rodgers saying that it's not acceptable, that performance. Well, you know what? I don't find his analogy acceptable, because for him to try and insinuate that he doesn't have the tools, or he's not driving the right car, that is absolute bullshit. How can this guy continue to make excuses, whether it be the board or the recruitment or not replacing key players? Look at the money that Celtic have spent, look at the wages that Celtic pay, and compare that to the rest of the league. Celtic, take Rangers out of the equation, and Rangers effectively this season are out of the equation because they're shite, but the gulf between Celtic and even like Hearts, Hibs, Aberdeen, the teams that are considered to be best the rest, the gulf in finances between Celtic and those teams are huge. And then you go even further back and you look at the gulf between the likes of Celtic and Dundee, Falkirk, Livingston. It's absolutely massive. Yet Brendan Rodgers almost wants us to feel sorry for him because he's been handed the keys to a Honda Civic and not a Ferrari. Well, what does fucking Stephen Presley have? He doesn't have keys. He doesn't have keys. He's got stabilizers and a fucking tricycle.
He's hot wiring a fucking scrapper at the end.
If Brendan Rodgers is driving a Honda Civic and he's got the keys to a Honda Civic, then fucking Stephen Presley's waiting on the bus. He's got the bus pass. He's
on a Sunday fucking schedule.
He's public transport.
Aye.
That's the difference here. But this guy wants us to feel, oh, well, you can't expect us to play like a Ferrari. Should Celtic need to play like a Ferrari to beat Stephen Presley, who's waiting on the public bus transport? I don't think so.
This is a guy that's done, right? We both love analogies, right? But this is the craziest one I've ever heard.
Stephen Presley is waiting on Martin for the rabble to come and pick him up, and he'd be better off waiting for another 5 years, because that doesn't look like it's going to happen. But this guy, oh, I'm driving a Honda, I'm driving this. But your opponents don't even have cars. Your fucking Stephen Presley's probably not got he's not even got a license. If you want to compare,
he talks about he was handed the keys to a Honda Civic, right? He was handed the keys to a Ferrari. Make no mistake about it. No one know why he was handed the keys. When he joined Celtic, they were the best team in the country, and had just won a treble, right? So therefore, is this guy made the? See, in my opinion, man, you can only blame the mechanics and the engineers as much as you want. Brendan Rodgers is the fucking driver, alright? And I'm pointing the blame at him, and you're right. It's like, Celtic are the Ferrari in this league. This would be like F1 if Ferrari decided to go and fucking compete in, like, the junior formulas, and then still couldn't produce a car capable. This is the sort of analogy and excuse you use. See if they got into the Champions League and they were taken on Bayern Munich for again, and say they lost like 7-0. Then you could be like, well, you know what? Last year we were close to a Ferrari. This year we're like a Honda Civic. I'd be like, you know what? That's a decent analogy there, Brendan. This analogy, it's just plain ignorance. All this guy does is deflect blame. And you know what? I'm the master of seeing a manager deflect blame, because we just had fucking Russell Martin. That's exactly what this is. Why is this guy pretending that he's been handed shite keys? I'll tell you a guy that's been handed shit. Fucking Stephen Presley. His team got decimated. You don't need a Ferrari to beat, let's face it, the worst manager in this league and the worst squad in this league. That's what they are. That's what Dundee are.
Stephen Presley was handed a square rusty box, essentially, as a car, and they were like, here, try and drive this to the finish line. That's what Stephen Presley got. But should Brendan Rodgers be trusted to drive a Ferrari when he can't be trusted with the transfer budget? Because Celtic have spent money. They brought in 2 wingers at the value of over £5 million each. And what have they done with it? You know, they've done nothing. They've been a failure. And also, he claims that he's driving a Honda Civic and not driving a Ferrari. Well, when is he going to take blame? When's he going to take his part of the blame? Because let's say you're given £10 million and you turn up at the car showroom and you could buy like this incredible Ferrari with all these perks and all these add-ons and all the extras and the fancy interior and all this stuff, and it's 10 million. Or you could buy this Peugeot 306 for 10 million, and you decide to be a dumbass and spend the 10 million on the Peugeot 306. You could have bought a Ferrari with your 10 million, but you decided to shit your 10 million up the wall. And I feel like that's what's happening here with Celtic. They've not spent huge amounts of money, right? But they've spent enough, in my opinion, to still have a good transfer window. But they've spent it wrong. They've been poor with their judgment. Just like Rangers, they could have bought a Ferrari-esque striker with £8 million, but instead they've fucking bought a heap of shite in Shermity. So Brendan Rodgers can make these excuses, but at the end of the day, he's got to take part of the blame, because the money spent's not been good enough. And even with the players that they do have, come on, that Celtic team against a Dundee or against a Kairat Almighty, that Armati or whatever, that's like driving a Ferrari but fucking crashing it.
Yep.
That's what that is.
Even if he said this against Braga, I'd still be questioning it, because Braga aren't like top tier European football. You only use this when you're taking on a top team and you feel like you've not been backed, man. We're at a point where, see, Celtic could not buy another player in the next 5 years and they should still be expected to beat Dundee. Dundee's the worst team in the league.
He's driving a Ferrari, and he's stuck in a tree. That's effectively what he's done.
No, man. People think we're better. I don't see how. I actually cannot believe how Rodgers is escaping criticism here for Celtic fans. This is fucking ridiculous, man.
Honestly, all Stephen Presley has to come out and say is, and I know he's probably, we've got a long way to go, and I don't know. But anyway, all Stephen Presley's got to say is, If Brendan Rodgers is driving a Honda Civic, then what the fuck am I driving?
Yeah. No.
What am I driving?
Not exactly. So what is he driving? No, man, this is pathetic. Just take. Why not shoulder some fucking responsibility? This comparison and analogy is way off the mark, man. Can't be current saying stuff like this. Seriously,
It just seems to be the latest in the deflection blame, isn't it? It's like, oh well, anything but actually.
But no, we're okay.
Take
But
some
he's
responsibility.
obviously referring to the fact that I'm asking my team to be like a Ferrari, but they can only deliver Honda Civic performance. So what's he asking them to do then? What is he asking this group of players to do that, say, like his team 2 years ago could do that they can't?
Yeah, listen, a lot of the
Brendan Rodgers never had a good style of play.
a lot of the players that Celtic had they're still in the team.
Yeah.
I mean, you talk about that Bayern Munich game, but who have they really lost?
Yeah.
Was Jota not already injured in that game?
I don't know, he might have been available, but either or, you're right, it's like people would say Iheanacho's better than Ida, wouldn't they? So I don't know where we're going with this.
Alright, well let's say...
Could it just... we don't see Celtic under pressure that often, right? Could it just be that Rodgers isn't used to this and he's coming out with shite?
No, it could be, but...
Actually, it could be.
But, I mean, let's say that, okay, right, they've lost Jota and they lost Kuhn. Give them the benefit of the doubt. Well, he's brought in two £5 million plus replacements on the wing. So, really, apart from that, the squad's the same. I mean, what other players are they missing? You still had the same midfield as you had last year when you took on Bayern Munich. So the only two players that you could argue you're missing for the Bayern Munich game would be Kuhn and Jota. But then I'd spin it and say, well, you've brought in £5 million plus Balakisha and you've brought in £5 million plus Tanecki. So should the team really be on that much of the...
Also, is one striker the difference between a Honda Civic and a Ferrari?
Yeah, and you can turn around and say, oh, but Tanecki and Balakisha, they're not at the same level. Here, I'd probably agree. I'd go, you're right, they're a downgrade. But are they that much of a downgrade that the entire team should be this much worse off?
No.
Come on, people, they're not.
It's not like you've replaced fucking Thierry Henry and stuck...
It's about the driver, right? See if Max Verstappen was in the Honda Civic, and I mean, whoever the fuck... Say Stephen Presley was driving the Ferrari, but Max Verstappen's in the Honda Civic. See, unless it's a drag race. See, as long as there's some corners, I'm going with Max Verstappen.
Yeah, I mean, you could give Russell Martin a Ferrari, I just don't think he's going to do much with it.
No.
Vegan sausage roll up the exhaust pipe and that's him fucked.
Snookered.
So anyway, guys, there you go. Brendan Rodgers, more excuses, and it's becoming a bit sad at this point. Guy needs to just admit that maybe I'm the reason, and it's nothing to do with the car that's being driven or the engine. It's me. It's me.
It's DDP.
Anyway, guys, that's it. Till next time. Peace.